Hello everyone, this is for the second part for section 2.4. It goes with a worksheet called 2.4c. And remembering from the first part of section 2.4, in order to write the equation of a line, you guys needed the slope and the y-intercept to do it. In these, you had to find the slope that's perpendicular to something or parallel to something. So, to help you get there, to understand that, here's a line. Let me graph it, just real sketching it. So the y-intercept is 6. The slope is -0.5, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. So roughly, approximately, here's your line. The point that they're interested in is 1, -1. So 1 over, 1 down. What they're looking for is a line that's perpendicular to this one, but goes through that point. They're looking for the equation of this line. Notice here's a slope and here's a y-intercept, but they have to do with the red line. You want to find a new equation going through this point, and it's perpendicular to this line. Its slope is going to be related to this one, and that relationship is you take the opposite reciprocal, the opposite sign and the reciprocal, it's a heck of an A, to this slope. So the perpendicular, remember from geometry, the perpendicular slope is going to be a positive 2 over 1, or 2, whichever way you want to write it. And it's going through this point. So you don't use this y-intercept. This y-intercept has to do with this line. So you're not using that y-intercept, you have to find a new one. So you know this much information so far. This is going to be the new slope, and you have to find a new y-intercept using this x and y value. So do what you did in yesterday's assignment, fill them in. -1 is equal to 2 times 1 plus b. That's -1 is 2 plus b. Subtract the 2 to the other side, and you have -3 is equal to b. Now you fill in what b is worth, and you write the new equation. Y is equal to 2x plus, whoops, I lost the negative, minus 3, or how about better yet, 2x minus 3. Okay? So the first thing, you don't have to graph to do this. The first thing you have to identify is the slope of the line that they're referencing. Then, if it says perpendicular, you take the opposite reciprocal of whatever that slope is to get the new slope. So this is the new one. It's not the slope of the line that they've referenced. The slope of the red line was -0.5. Then you have to go find a new y-intercept, because the y-intercept they told you was for the old line. I don't want it. I want the new one. So then you do what you did in yesterday's assignment by filling in the point to find the new y-intercept, and then finish writing the equation. If they tell you, I want something that's parallel, what you should understand and take away from that is parallel lines have the same slope. Again, you don't need to graph this to do it. I'm just going to sketch a graph of it to help you see what they're saying. So 6, -6. 6 over, 6 down. About right there. 10 over, 4 down. So 10 over, 4 down. So what do you think? Somewhere like that? Here's the line that they're referencing. Here. If I can find the slope through these 2 points, then I know the new line is also going to have the same slope. So I'm going to find the slope to those 2 points. 10, -6. -4, 6. So I have 16 over, what would that be, -10? So that's 8 over -5. Yes, that's 10. I feel like I've made a mistake because the slope seems awkward. Okay. Yes, it's because it is. I wrote the wrong numbers. Good gravy. Hold on. Let me write them a different way, because I just illustrated something I classically do. This is me. This isn't you guys. I'm used to doing adding and subtracting vertically. So if they're not lined up vertically, then I tend to make mistakes just like I did. Here we go. -4, -6, 10, 6. That's much better. Much better. Okay. Sorry for that mistake. So what I'm suggesting is, if you find yourself doing the same mistakes I did, try writing them one over the other, and then it lines up your y's, and then it lines up your x's. All right, so there we go. So the top is 2, the bottom is 4, which gives you a half. That's much better. Okay, they said that it needs to be a parallel line to this. So if it's parallel, then you know your slope is a half. It's got to be the same. So you know this much information, a half x plus b. Now it has to go through the point 4, 6. 4 over 6 up. I want the equation of this line. So we already know the slope. It's parallel, so it's got to be the same. What I'm looking for is that y-intercept. How do you find it? Don't use any of this information here. Use the point they said it's going through. So 6 is equal to, 1 half, I almost wrote the 4 first, times 4 plus b. A half times 4 is 2. Subtract the 2, and you know your b is 4. Go back and replace it. Y is equal to 1 half x plus 4. And you can see, even from this crude graph I did, sure, that looks reasonable, that it's 4 units up. You know, that was, 4 over 6 up? Sure. Okay, so even just a crummy graph like this verifies that, hey, it looks reasonable for what I did. Okay, so parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have the opposite reciprocal. The first thing you need to find is the slope, either through the given points that they tell you, or by peeling off the slope that they give you, and then either taking the opposite reciprocal or keeping it because it's parallel. So if it looks like this, write an equation for the line that passes through this point and it's perpendicular to these 2 points. So I don't make the same mistake I did in the previous one. I'm going to go ahead and write one above the other. I need to find the slope. So -6, -4, and 4, 3, which gives you -2 over 1, so -2 is your slope. That's the slope of the existing line through these 2 points. I want the slope that's perpendicular to it. So the perpendicular slope is going to be the opposite sign and the reciprocal. So I'm going to use 1 half x plus b. Now the referencing it goes through this point, so I'm going to fill that in. -10 is a half times 6 plus b. -10 is equal to 3 plus b. Subtract the 3. -13 is equal to b. So your final answer, replace this b. So y is equal to a half x minus 13. And there's the equation of a line that goes through this point, and it's perpendicular to the line that goes through those 2 points. All right. This next one is actually pretty easy if you understand what it's telling you. So let me just sketch a graph of it quick to help you visualize what's going on. Here's a point, 2, -7, 2 over 7 down. So hypothetically, there's my point. Here's the line x equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a vertical line here. I want a line that's parallel to this one, but goes through this point. And that point again was 2. Whoops, can't read that very well. 2, not much. 2, -7. I want the equation of this line that goes through that point. So it's also going to be vertical. So it's also going to look like x equals, because it's only crossing the x-axis. Well, what's the x value? 2. So you're done. You're finished. There's no arithmetic. There's no algebra to do. It's an understanding question. Do you get it that if it's parallel to this one, it's also vertical, so it's also going to be x equals some number? Then just look at it and go, oh, my x is 2. Done. So let me change that up for a second. Let's say they, instead of saying parallel, they said perpendicular. All right. It wants to go through this point. It has to be perpendicular to the red line, so it's going to be a horizontal line. All horizontal lines, you're supposed to know this. You're supposed to recognize it as y is equal to some number. Well, what's the y value at that point? What's the y value at that point? -7. So y equals -7. And you're finished. Okay, let's change it up one more time. Let's say they told you y is equal to 5. And they said they want it parallel, a parallel line through this point, parallel to this one. I think I still fumbled it. Okay, 2, -7. Here's the line y is equal to 5. I want an equation of a line that goes from this point to -7 and is parallel to this line. Well, it's got to be a y equals because it's only going to cross the y. So it would be y is equal to -7. If instead of this, they said perpendicular to this line going through that point, so that means it has to be a perpendicular line here, which is vertical. So again, x is equal to 2. All right? No arithmetic. You just have to understand and know what it's saying, what it's asking, and how to write the equation for a horizontal line and a vertical line. That's it.